Most people now have paid their taxes for the year, and now that you've paid your taxes, I'll bet some of you are saying, what the hell am I paying for? What the hell am I paying for? And a number of you have sent me an article about a study that was done that purports to show that divorce and out-of-wedlock childbearing cost U.S. taxpayers more than $112 billion a year. Well, I can solve these two problems very simply. The divorce problem, stop getting married. Also, stop having judges adjudicating divorces. Require people to go to private arbitration, binding arbitration. That's it. No prolonged songs and dances from attorneys who want to drag it out as long as they can and institute as much fighting between the parties as they can. Let's get a conciliator. Let's get a mediator. Let's get somebody else in there who does bing, bang, boom. You get the knives, you get the forks, done deal. Everybody sign here. Save a fortune on that. How about just not getting married? That'd be the best way. Save on divorces. And out-of-wedlock childbearing, very simple. Reverse the taxation system, and instead of giving people tax exemptions for having children, you make sure that they are married and attach a copy of the marriage certificate to their tax return. And if they do not, they pay $1,500 for every illegitimate child they have to pay the cost of illegitimate children. And why should the rest of us who are not having illegitimate children fund those who do? You want to see those women close their legs? You want to see them find what birth control methods exist out there? Tell them they got to pay. Makes sense to me. Our telephone number, 1-800-5800-TOM. That is indeed our telephone number. Let's say hello here to Vicky on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hi, Tom. How are you?
Great.
Fantastic. I have been married for 10 years, and I've got 2 children, and I couldn't agree with you more. Obviously not about the marriage part, but I totally believe you shouldn't have to pay for my children. And that is also why I believe you should have to have a license to have children.
That's never going to happen. There are 250 years of precedent on that. It's just not going to happen.
But it's ridiculous, though. Any chooch can drive a car, or
all kinds of things.
But I'm saying, but you need a license to drive a car. Why shouldn't you have a license?
By the way, if you've been in the average bathroom, you'd see maybe some people need a license to do that.
But it's a totally different thing, Tom. I mean, we're talking about it would cut down on everything. As far as, unwed children having children, it nips it in the bud, right? Right from the start.
But since that's never going to happen, we need to tax illegitimate children.
Do you agree with that? I mean, if it were possible?
If it were possible to build a ladder to the moon, it would save us on the space program, okay? But the fact is, it's never going to happen.
But I don't understand why. I mean, all it would take, basically, like the lady said, a Norplant, like a vaccine. You've got a little girl, you take her to the doctor, just like in...
Well, we do require people to get, polio vaccines. We require your dog to get a parvovirus vaccine before he stays. So, yes, I see no reason why. By the way, you have all these people arguing now about the HPV vaccine.
Exactly. That.
But there are places that are going to institute that as being mandatory. I have no problem with mandatory birth control for all the little sluts out there. I have no problem with that. But again, there's a big fight against anything mandatory that has to do with stuff that goes in your body. Because things that were said to be safe in the 40s and 50s, like thalidomide, later turned out to be really, really horrible. So people are a little skittish about that. I would rather charge people... You know what? Here's the other thing. I'd rather tax the people who are the troublemakers. So I say take all the little sluts out there who never heard of a cervical cap or a diaphragm and say, you know what, girls, if you don't want to learn about birth control, that's fine, but you're going to pay for every little crumb cruncher you create.
I agree with that, but then it just...
We'll call it the bastard tax.
I agree, but if they don't have the money, they don't have the money, so why not nip it in the bud?
If they don't have the money, it'll be taken from their welfare payments.
I can see that, but just like I said.
And by the way, speaking of things they'll never do, what they really ought to do is tell people if you can't support a child to the bare minimum, to keep them, at least somewhere hovering around the poverty level. If you can't do that, the kids are taken away, just like they take kids away when there's child abuse or physical abuse of some kind.
But if we could stop it from ever even happening, we wouldn't have that problem. You know what I'm saying? If we could just nip it in the bud from the beginning, people who abuse their children, people who couldn't afford their children, you can't have. That's what I'm saying as far as the license. If you can't prove that you meet a certain economic level, as to where you can afford to raise these children, then you just don't get to have them.
Yeah, well,
and if you want children so bad, then get a frickin' job, get your life together, and we'll see down the line.
Yeah, well, that'll happen in your dreams. Or my dreams. 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. Ray on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hey, Tom. How you doing?
I'm doing okay.
I just have something to say about those parents that, that have their kids in public school.
Yes.
And then they expect another rebate at the end of the year. Well, why don't they just make them pay for the whole schooling, and they get no rebate? Why do I got to pay for that kid to go to school? I have a kid myself that's 11 years old.
I agree. And by the way, if they're going to give vouchers to parents to send their kids to private school, and the theory is because they're paying school taxes but their kids aren't going to public schools, I don't have any kids going to public schools either. Yeah, so I think I should get a credit every year myself.
Yeah, and I pay child support and I pay for the school, and at the end of the year I don't get to write it off because they live with their mother, or he lives with his mother.
Right.
How is that fair?
It's clearly not. Jennifer on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hey, Tom. How are you?
Great.
That's good. I was actually a teen mother when I was 16 years old, and I agree with you 100%. I think that if we had to pay for these kids, I mean, don't get me wrong, I wasn't on welfare. I paid for my kids, his insurance. I had insurance when I had him, so I wasn't taking any, like, Medi-Cal or whatever the case may be. I wasn't on welfare, wasn't on food stamps. I took care of my responsibility. I do believe that if they start taxing these little girls, they will keep their legs shut. There's no reason for anybody to have to pay for anybody else's mistake.
That's right.
So, you have these people that are disagreeing with you, and it's like, okay, that's fine. If you want to pay your money, that's on you, but I'll be damned if I'm going to pay for somebody else's problem.
I agree with that. Dara on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hey, Tom.
Hey.
Okay, I'm not going to say how you're doing. How many times do we got to hear that you're great?
Well, besides, nobody gives a rat's ass how I am.
And anyway, okay, look, yesterday you were saying if you tax beer, that's not going to necessarily stop.
By the way, darling, you got to talk into the phone. I don't know what you're doing over there, but
okay,
I knew you were doing something else and trying to talk to me.
Can you hear me now, Tom?
Yes.
Hey, Tom, check this out. This is what I was saying. Yesterday, you were saying that if you tax beer, it's not going to necessarily stop people from drinking beer or getting
correct.
Drunk. Okay? If you tax these chicks for having a gang of kids, doesn't mean they're going to stop having kids.
You know what? I agree with that, but here's what it will do. It will help pay for their education.
Thank you. I agree with that.
I mean, why should people who don't have kids subsidize the people who keep cranking them out like a human Xerox machine?
Okay, but look at this. Married people have a whole bunch of kids, too, and they're...
And that's why I said we should turn the whole exemption system on its ear, and everybody starts out with 3 exemptions. If you have no children, you get 3 exemptions instead of 0. Okay. Then if you have 1 child, you get 2 exemptions. If you have 2 children, you get 1 exemption. If you have 3 children, you get no exemptions instead of 3 exemptions. If you have 4 children, you pay the equivalent of an exemption in the other direction.
I agree with you. Last but not least, no, not last. Now, if you take the kids away from the irresponsible parents, in the end, you're still creating more taxes because they're going to be needing money for whatever.
No. Are you kidding? You'd be saving money because then, for example, Angelina Jolie would not have to be flying all the way to Africa to find children. There'd be a large wellspring resource of children right here at home.
But
no more importing children from other continents. They would live right here.
There already is a wellspring here.
Well, not nearly. Clearly, with all the people who are going to other countries to find kids, not nearly enough.
Well, isn't that kind of like Hollywood, not necessarily reality?
Oh, no, I've known many people who've gone to countries like Korea or China or Russia to find children.
Right.
And so this would solve that problem. There'd be plenty of kids right here. Okay,
look, I got to say, you're kind of like dad, kind of like brother, kind of like cousin, because I think you the bomb. but I'm married already.
I understand. But, darling, you'll be in the barrel again, just like everybody else here in SoCal.
No.
And when you're available, I'll be waiting for you.
Hey, give me a bong hit on the way out.
Here you go, darling. Jamie on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm excellent. I just had a comment for one of your callers that called in a while ago. I don't know if you've ever read the book Freakonomics. Have you ever heard of that book?
Yes.
Okay, well, there's a statistic proving that after abortion was legalized, that the crime rate significantly went down, and your caller was talking about how...
Actually, by the way, without talking about that book, we talked about that statistic on the air many times. That's a fact.
Oh, I completely agree, and I'm 18 years old, and I know plenty of girls of my age that are getting pregnant just to collect a welfare check.
All those little sluts out there who are having babies, and then they put them in the daycare there in their high schools, they're raising the future carjackers of our community.
Exactly. I could not agree with you more, and I just felt really compelled to call you, and it's just disgusting. I don't know. I just paid my taxes in birth control.
I totally agree with you.
Tom Leykis. 1-800-5800-TOM. 1-800-5800-866.
The advice you give us is worth more than money. It's worth my weight in gold.
It's the Tom Leykis Show.
The Tom Leykis Show. 1-800-5800-TOM. Thank you for tuning in. Dominic on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Yo, Tom.
How you doing?
Doing great. Just driving home from work.
Good.
Hey, I got a real problem with it, man. All these people having kids without being married, just having kids in the first place is basically... It's hurting our country. It's making the government put all this money out for these kids and their school and they're just turning it back on us. They're turning it back on the public, the people that are singles. I'm 30. I have no kids. I'm not really planning to have any kids because I like taking care of myself and my girlfriend first. Yeah,
I don't even know why you're taking care of your girlfriend.
Well, I'm not taking care of her, but, you know, we have our pad together. She has a job. She makes her money. She pays her half of the rent. You know, I got that from you. I don't pay her half of the rent. She pays for it. She pays for her bills. But
and who pays the utilities?
Excuse me, sir?
I noticed you left out the utilities. Who pays for those?
Oh, we share them. We share them.
50-50?
From you, man.
No, but you didn't learn that from me because I told you shouldn't have any woman living with you.
Well, I am 30.
Yeah, but still. There's no benefit to that because you're going to end up paying more than half, and I am willing to bet you do pay more than half.
No, I don't.
So she pays half the phone bill?
Yeah, well, we don't have a phone. We have our own cell phone bills.
All right, and she pays half the electric bill?
Yes, sir.
That's 50%.
Yes, sir.
50% of the gas bill?
Uh-huh.
How about cable TV or satellite? Do you have it?
Of course. We both love it. Yeah, we both pay our own share.
50%.
Yes, sir.
Uh-huh. How about the Internet?
We really have the Internet. We really don't have it. We just use Wi-Fi.
All right. Well, where do you get the Wi-Fi from? You pirate somebody else's from another apartment?
Yeah, kind of.
Oh, that's good. So everybody knows your business. That's great. And
anyway,
does she have any student loans or car loans or anything like that?
No, she has her own student loan she pays for, but...
So you don't pay for any of her expenses at all? None?
Hell no. I learned it from you, brother.
And how does she feel about that?
She's her own woman.
Has she tried to get you to pay for anything?
Oh, no way.
No. No way.
I find that hard to believe that she didn't try.
Nah, she's her own, like I said, she's her own woman. That's what I love about her. She takes care of her own stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, when it comes to these kids and people, like I have friends that have kids and they get stuff from the government and the government gives them handouts. That's just crap. I think you're totally right about this whole situation that people, that we, us as having no kids, we should get all the tax benefits. It's ludicrous.
I think people who use less taxes, use less services, should pay less in taxes, and people who use more should pay more.
Yeah, of course. I did my taxes, and I barely got back what I should have because of this crap.
I'm sure a lot of people who paid their taxes this week feel the same way, for God's sake. 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. It's Lisa on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hi, Tom.
Hi.
So I totally agree with you, by the way. Now, my husband and I, we're in our 30s, married. We have a daughter. We might possibly have another, but that's where we draw the line. And I agree with you. It's like, if you're going to keep pumping out kids, nobody needs to pay for it but yourself. My question is, how are you going to put that tax on the fathers because they can so
You're not. What you're going to do is that's going to be added to the monthly expenses of a single mother, and then that will be calculated into the child support that is paid.
Mm-hmm. So do you think it would be harder to start tracking down fathers because who's going to want to...
Well, under my plan, it would not be hard. You wouldn't have to be tracking down fathers because you'd have mandatory DNA testing for every live birth in the United States.
I love it.
And
Absolutely.
then there'd be no screwing around saying you don't know who the father is or saying it's one person when it's really another.
So there you go. The kid's born,
So
you know exactly who the father is.
What we would be doing is we would be at all these little tramps who use the system to get money out of innocent men. We would be narrowing their opportunities to steal.
I totally agree with this whole thing. I wish it was something that we can actually implement. Absolutely.
Well, we can implement it, but we first have to all decide that we're all going to get involved, and we're all going to write our legislators, and we're all going to make a stink about this. Because attorneys are our legislators, and they try to keep the system so that attorneys can make billions of dollars, trillions of dollars. Mm-hmm. It is our job collectively to make this an issue every time we vote for somebody, every time we go to a town meeting or a town forum, every time we hear one of these morons on CNN or YouTube, we have to keep bombarding them with this issue. Who really cares about whether Barack Obama's an elitist? That's what they're talking about. How about we talk about this issue?
And do you think there's going to be a lot of, you know, people like me who are married, who have children, and still believe in this taxation if you're going to have basically excessive children?
Well, part of the problem you have is that many of the people you need on your side are benefiting from the system the way it is now.
Yeah.
But I think we'd all be better off if we had a system with less illegitimate children, less little sluts giving birth to bastards, less people going on food stamps, welfare, all the AFDC and all that stuff. I'm not saying to hurt poor people. I'm saying to educate people that having illegitimate children you can't afford is bad for you and bad for society.
Absolutely. Take responsibility for yourself and don't ask other people to take
Why is it so politically incorrect to say that?
I agree. Absolutely.
All right. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
Appreciate the call. 1-800-5800-TOM. That's our telephone number. Courtney on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hi, Tom.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Great.
That's good to hear. I just wanted to, well, one, agree with the last caller and anyone else who's agreed with you on this topic. And I do believe that this is the only way. I don't think it's fair that I should have to pay for someone else's mistake. I don't plan on having kids, not anytime in the near future. My parents waited till they were almost 40 to adopt me and my brother, and I don't see how that makes any sense that I have to pay for someone popping out 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 kids.
Yeah.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
I don't think people who can't afford to have children should have one kid.
I completely agree. It's like you always say, it's like having a luxury car. I would love to have a Lamborghini, but I can't afford it.
That's right. And now that we have everything from DNA testing to all these forms of birth control, each time that people get with the program, and they don't get with the program, we have to make them get with the program and stop indulging them.
Yeah, I completely 100% agree.
No daycare centers in high schools. Please stop with that. They do that here in L.A. Stop with that.
They do it all across California. It's absolutely ridiculous.
It's outrageous.
One more thing that we have to pay for.
And not only that, you know, just the way the little girls see the baby bumps on the cover of Us Weekly. When the little girls see their classmates coming in with their cute little babies, what kind of baby fever does that induce among the other little sluts?
I completely agree.
We don't want to be showing that off in high school. No babies in high school. High school is for people who are 14, 15, 16, 17 to 18. That's it. Nobody was just born should be in that building.
That's the problem. It's kids having kids.
Well, we have to start closing all the openings that are that make that possible.
I agree.
Thank you, Courtney.
No problem.
Jason on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hello?
Yes.
Hey, Tom. How's it going?
Great.
Well, I got a story for you. All right. I met my daughter's mom, and, you know, I didn't listen to you, which I should have been doing a long time ago. But we had a kid, and she got hooked on drugs, and I got custody of the kid. And the time she was on drugs, she was using the system, welfare and all that, to take her money that she was getting every month and buy drugs with that, and then trying to ask me for child support. And so then I got custody of the child, and now the ball's in my court, and now she doesn't want to pay child support. She doesn't want to pay for child care. She doesn't want to pay for Medicare. She doesn't want to pay for anything, and now she's 7 months behind in child support, and the system took her license away already.
So now, of course, she can't even go to work to pay her child support, so it'll just get worse.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, whatever moron came up with the idea of taking away people's driver's licenses who don't pay child support, yeah, that really helps the problem when someone in California can't drive to work.
Well, you know, that's their decision for all that, you know what I mean? They shouldn't have, you know, they should be on top of the game. Like the other caller said, they got a responsibility. They want to drive that car. Well, you know what? This baby child needs life. And by supporting this child every month, like I've been doing for 3.5 years, Tom, I bust my butt every day at work. I have a side job that I do to make extra money. She don't care.
Well, of course she doesn't care. She's a drug addict. And by the way, she was a drug addict before you started having sex with her.
Oh, of course. Yeah, she was in sober living when she was 16 years old. Now she's 23.
And you, of course, didn't see that as a red flag.
Oh, my mom told me about it. My brother told me about it. And I didn't want to listen because I was 28 and she was 18. So I'm thinking young chick. You know what I mean, Tom?
And it was the best sex you'd ever had.
Oh, yeah. It was all right.
Yeah, because when people are on drugs, they'll do anything.
Yeah. But, you know, I mean, I should have counted my chickens before they hatched, Tom, and listened to you a long time ago.
I think you're right about that, Jason.
You know, but I got a beautiful daughter out of it, Tom, and you know what? I've been taking care of her, and now her mom's all clean and sober, and she wants to try to take her back. And it's like, you know, you can't do it. You messed up. You lost your chance.
Yep. This is going to be the rest of your life.
Oh, tell me about it.
Have you discovered condoms yet, Jason?
Oh, yes, I have. I have.
They're all the rage right now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I got married. I got a lovely wife and that, Tom, you know what I mean? Because, you know, I mean, I love you, Tom. You're a great person. It's just, you know, I have a daughter and, you know, she needs a mother figure in her life.
Oh,
you know,
boy.
You know, so I kind of sidetracked you on that.
Any woman who would marry into a situation like that deserves sainthood.
Well, you know, she's a very good girl, Tom. It's like, you know, I couldn't ask for anybody more. So,
well,
I know
good luck. All I can say, Jason, is good luck on all that.
Tom Leykis. 1-800-5800-TOM. Tom Leykis. 1-800-5800-866.
I don't trust anything that bleeds for a week and doesn't die.
It's the Tom Leykis Show.
Hollywood, the Tom Leykis Show at 1-800-5800-TOM. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for being part of the program. We appreciate it. Here we are together again on the radio, you and me. Boy. Let's continue with your calls here, 1-800-5800-TOM. This is Cruz on the Tom Leykis Show.
Hi, Mr. Tom Leykis. How are you doing today?
I'm doing okay, Mr. Cruz.
I have a problem with you, man. Why are you being such a bitch about the kids, man? Why don't you leave them alone and worry about your own problems?
It's not the kids I'm attacking. It's the women who, the sluts and whores who go out and crank out these little bastard children.
Okay, that's fine. You have no children, correct?
Whether I have children or not has nothing to do with my opinion.
It's fine. I agree with you, but now, let me tell you this. Because you're a very rich, successful person.
That's right. And that's because I didn't go around knocking people up when I was 15 or 16 or 17 or 18 or 19 or 20 or 21 or 22 or 23 or 24 or 25 or 26. I went out and worked. 27, didn't do it at 27 or 28 or 29 or 30 or 31 or 32 or 41 or 42 or 51. I instead worked my ass off, saved, invested, and planned. That's why I'm rich and successful. So if you want to bring up the fact that I'm rich and successful, those are the reasons. Because I wasn't busy knocking up my girlfriend. You there? Probably another one of those guys who knocked up his girlfriend. Jeez. By the way, it's time for another oil change. Somebody who knocked up his girlfriend is going to be changing my oil next week. I got to get the 25,000-mile maintenance. Somebody who knocked up his girlfriend in high school is going to be checking my fluids. Because he has experience checking his girlfriend's fluids. That's how he got that job. Put that on his resume. He's been checking other people's fluids since he was 11. 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. Could you rotate my tires, too? Thanks. 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. Let's say hello to Matthew on the Tom Leykis Show.
Hello, Tom.
Hello, Matthew.
I just had a question for you. Me and my girl, we live together and we have a child together. But we don't want to get married. We don't see any benefits in marriage. So, I mean, does that still make us the bad people of, illegitimate children?
I don't know. Do you collect welfare, food stamps, or any other forms of support?
Oh, I live in Thousand Oaks, as a matter of fact.
That doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, I pay all my bills, and we don't get help from nobody.
Good.
But
now, if I were you, I wouldn't be living with her, much less married to her. I'd just, Well, it's better. Look, it's my opinion that it's better for the kid. But as far as you are concerned, it's not better for you to get married.
Right. But she pays her way, I pay my way. We don't. She works and she pays her own way, so it's not like any big deal for us.
Do you also buy things together, like a house or a condo or anything like that?
We haven't bought a house yet. I have money saved away for that, but we're renting right now.
Right. And if you do that, she will pay equally with you?
Yes, she will. Or I will own the deed to the house. She's already agreed to that. She'll pay me what she owes on mortgage, and I will own the deed to the house with her name will not be.
By the way, this is what I did when I was married and when I lived with somebody. I said to them, don't worry, you don't have to pay anything. But when you leave, you're going to sign a quitclaim deed before you leave. It says, I own the house when you go. I have had 4 different women ask why their name isn't on the deed to my home.
Well, she's already agreed not to have the deed on the home if I pay for the...
Good for you.
Oh. She's not a moocher.
That's good.
I was just wondering, because you were just saying that illegitimate children, everybody should be paying, $1,500 or so for that just because you had them out of wedlock. But, what if you don't want to get married?
Well, again, I still think that we need to do something about this. And I don't see why people like me should subsidize people like you.
I agree with you. I believe putting everything down the middle. But I don't believe that I should pay for 15,000 kids from some other family either.
No, I agree. But see, if we did it my way, if everybody paid for their own illegitimate children, then that would take care of the costs.
I got you.
Like I say, it's called the bastard tax, and I think we ought to implement it as soon as possible. Save the government all this money. 1-800-5800-TOM, that's our telephone number. Let's say hello here to Tony on the Tom Leykis Show.
Hey, good afternoon.
Hey.
Hey, I got a comment. You're saying this bastard tax. You know, whoever made the rule that says that you cannot have your license because you don't pay child support, did they really have these children's best interest in mind? Why don't they have a rule that says mom has to be, or the parent that has gets the money for the custody should be accountable for what they do with this money? You know, it's pretty sad when the
that would be, you know, you make a great point, Tony. You know, if you get audited by the IRS, and of course with this being tax-paying week, the tax deadline, you think about it. If you were audited, and I've been audited, and I don't know if you've been, but you have to have every one of those receipts. You know, like that shoebox full of receipts? You got to have that. You've got to show every penny. You've got to show everything. I went through an audit. It was an all-day affair that followed weeks of digging through my papers and preparing. And yet, if I was getting child support, I wouldn't have to prove anything to anybody.
Yeah, it's horrible to see these kids look like they've been dragged through the mud, yet mom's got her nails done. She's got the newest purse and the newest clothes. And it's not fair to these children. And then dad's paying for it, and it's just horrible. I've seen it myself.
Sounds good to me.
Hey, Tom, can I make a comment about you had a topic yesterday?
No. 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. Should have called yesterday. Let's say hello here to Jolynn. Jolynn on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hi, Tom. How are you today?
I'm doing okay.
Good. I agree with the majority of what you're saying. There's only one thing that I have a slight disagreement with, and that was in regards to the child daycare in high schools. And let me explain why. I totally agree with the fact that pregnant teens at schools does set off other teenage females, you know, with baby fever. Totally agree with it because I've seen it myself. But I work for a school district where we do have a program that way. And I think the way they do sports, how you have to have a certain GPA to be in sports, I think you should have to have a certain GPA in order to use the daycare center for children, because I've seen, you know, we have 3 mothers now who utilize our services, and 2 of them have been there from the moment they could come back and have worked their butts off to graduate so that they could better themselves and pay for their child, so that way mom or dad or whoever they're living with doesn't have to anymore. And we've had one young lady who will show up whenever she wants, and it's taken her actually an extra year to graduate. So I think not to necessarily get rid of them completely.
I just don't think babies should be on the school premises because of the baby fever that creates among the girls.
No, that I definitely agree with.
So no babies within the view of any of the children.
Absolutely. And to be perfectly honest with you, that's actually why they have adult education, so that mothers could go to school at night, and so that they don't have to take their babies to school. But like I said, the only reason why I would say not get rid of it completely is for the mothers who do go back and work their butts off to try and better themselves. That's the only reason. But other than that, I totally agree with you because I've seen it.
A similar recommendation I would make has nothing to do with children at all. It has to do with community college.
Oh, yeah.
I am tired of paying for people to get reduced tuition at community college who don't graduate.
I agree with you, absolutely.
So my way of changing community college would go like this. Oh, yes, we'll aid certain people to go to community college after you get your degree.
Absolutely. I agree with you.
So if you don't finish, you pay.
Exactly. And I actually, in regards to that, I kind of took the easy road out and went to a tech school. And they made us sign a paper where it said, even if you don't finish, you are responsible for paying your tuition.
I would say also, anyone who drops out of high school, that's fine. You have to pay for the years you went.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I definitely agree with you.
We can solve some of these problems, you know, but nobody wants to be creative about it.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. So like I said, that was my only disagreement, but other than that, I totally agree with you. I don't have any children of my own, but I can tell you right now that I work 13 hours a day myself, and I'm tired of paying for other people's mistakes.
You and me both. You and me both, darling. Thank you. 1-800-5800-TOM. That's our telephone number. Let's say hello to Shauna on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hi. How are you?
Hi. I'm good.
I'm glad to hear it because it's hot today.
Not as hot as it was.
This is true. It was way hotter yesterday. I'm just calling because I have a problem with the fact that so many women that have kids in this day and age and low income, their kids end up being criminals. So you're not only paying for them up till they're 18 going through high school and public school, but you're paying them when they go to jail, when they get their public defenders, for tagging and whatever else they're doing. You're paying for them pretty much for the rest of their lives in a lot of cases.
Yeah, you are subsidizing the people who will be robbing you when they get older.
Exactly. So you're not just paying for the kid, you're paying for their entire life. You're paying for them as adults so many times.
I want to discourage people from creating new carjackers, alcoholics, and drug addicts of the future.
Exactly.
And new teenage parents of the future as well.
I agree. I just wanted to share that with you because so many people are just looking at the aspect of you're paying for them until they're 18, but you're not most times.
Good point. Thank you for that, Shauna. Sarah on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hello, Tom.
Yes.
Hi. You know what? I totally agree with you. I think that something has to be done. But my question is, what about the fathers that just don't have anything? I think the mandatory paternity test is a great idea, but what about the guys that don't have a job, have no education, have nothing?
Maybe women would stop having sex with guys like that if they realized they'd be outed every time they try to play tag you're it with the more well-off guys they've been having sex with.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe women would start giving thought to who they have unprotected sex with. Maybe a woman would say to herself, you know what, if this guy gets me pregnant, he'll never be able to pay child support, and I'll be screwed.
Then it goes back to the, what is it called, shunning?
Yes, we have to turn these women into pariahs.
Yeah, you know what, I really agree with you. And maybe you should maybe organize something on your website where we could sign a petition.
Well, I don't do any organizing. I wait for the audience to get self-motivated because they should do the things they personally care about. If any listener starts a campaign and is out there gathering signatures or trying to get some legislation passed, I'm all over it. I will help them by promoting what they're doing and interviewing them on the air, but I will not be the facilitator.
Can I ask why?
Because I'm a broadcaster. I'm not a political organizer.
Okay.
I will make my microphones available to people who organize, but it's not my job to do that.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for your time.
Thank you. This is not Domino's Pizza. You don't call here and have me do your dirty work for you. Not to say that Domino's Pizza's doing dirty work. You know what I'm talking about. Our email address, Tom@blowmeuptom.com.
The Tom Leykis Show.